the SM Media Podcast Network. Hi, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rangers Assessment right here on SM Media. Your look at all things Rangers and what has been another fascinating week, but it's very different than what it was last week. I would say last week I was probably about a 9 in terms of the kind of rageometer. I'd say this week this 7 days on, I'm probably at a 6 or a 7. There's still the overwhelming worry in the back of my mind. But mate, I think it was a bit better. There was something there yesterday.
Yeah, there was definitely something there. I think the two goal. It's just mad what happens when you play your best player in it. Football's
We'll
as simple.
we'll cover
Football's as
that.
simple as that when
Yeah.
you think about it. But yeah, there was definitely something there, and I think we stopped. I think we managed to contain. I think we made a very good Hibs team look very, very average.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I wasn't disappointed is probably the wrong term, but I thought Hibs would be better than what they were. Like they were on a couple of occasions and able to get in behind. I just don't think they offered much. Like I don't usually like criticise managers, especially not when they're playing against Rangers, but to take off Boyle. I think like when they took off Boyle late on, it was like, yeah, they've just kind of thrown in the towel because even at 72 minutes, if you're into it, you can get in behind this Rangers team. They do leave
Yeah,
space. It was the fact that they
Hill
kind of
hit.
just
Yeah,
released everything. But we've got a few things to get into. But I think overall, I think where we were 7 days, probably exactly where we were 7 days ago. I don't think everything's fixed. I don't think it's anywhere near that
no,
stage. I think there's still plenty of things as we'll get into. But what I was looking for yesterday was some level of performance and a result. And I think we certainly got the result. Performance was better than it's been. It's not a high bar so
no.
far this season, but there was a few things that we'll touch on during the show that I was quite happy with. And again, it is just all about building on it now.
Yeah, there's two ways you can go in this. You can build on it. We look at Genk, and then we get Livy away.
Yeah.
Two must-win games, and you can either build on it or you could view this game, which is I may be in the other camp of this. This win is just kicking the can down the road.
It probably is. I think we know that. I think we're still with the same boat that
Yeah,
probably the manager. It's only a matter of time, even after yesterday. I did, though, again, I did feel a bit of happiness for the manager. And I know, like, again, we'll get into protests and things like that as well, but it can't be easy for him because he knows that he must know, well, he knows certain elements of the fans don't want him. You can't look at what happened yesterday in terms of when you're going out. You're going out in a tunnel when you see the fan base, which was quite low yesterday, with banners saying they don't want you here. Like he knows what's happening, and he knows that
yeah,
he's got a long way to go to win those fans over. And I don't think I think a lot of them don't want one over. The problem
yeah,
we've got though is I think they will give him a few more games. But as you say, is it just of on the next defeat, and but then is it too late? Is it too far gone? I mean, if he loses it next week at Livingston, there's no way he can claw it back. I
no,
think it's
no.
pretty minimal now, but he needs to go next week in Livingston and win. What was the kind of overall thoughts though of the performance? Because I thought there was good. I thought there was still concerns about the kind of high line and the fact that one long ball when Hibs had the ball in the net. Now it was disallowed. That was a negative. But I thought overall getting those two goals before halftime were pretty important. And I thought again it was a weird atmosphere. I didn't think it was 34,000 there. Did you?
And look at
No.
well, Hibs said 3,000 of them, so
Yeah.
that
When I
that's the
saw
start.
34,000, I was like, I'm very doubtful of that.
No, because I'm in the to you probably better look at me of it because you're watching the telly. but I'm back at the Govan, so I don't know how full the Govan was.
Mhm.
The rest of the stadium, from where I see the Brummy, the Copeland, and the main stand, looked fairly sparse. But I don't know how busy the Govan was, so I couldn't tell you. It didn't look 34,000 for my seat anyway.
Right, before we get into talk about the game, let's go to what happened before the game, which was pretty well planned in terms of what we'd heard. We'd heard this a couple of days before. There was going to be protests outside the ground, not just in terms of Russell Martin, it was also aimed at Patrick Stewart. I'll get into him in a minute. Pretty busy by the looks of it. I'd heard a few whispers before the start of the game from people at the game that it was quite busy. It wasn't like a bad, but it wasn't like a tough protest or anything like that. It was fairly calm. They were venting their
Yeah, there was no
frustration.
trouble.
It seemed okay. I then had a massive problem with the one inside the ground, and I'll explain why. And this again, people will think this is me having a go at the Union Bears. It is and it isn't. We know this team have an issue with adversity, right? We've seen it in the past. I thought the first 10 minutes Rangers were actually growing into the game pretty good. I thought they were
Mm.
creating stuff. I thought they were keeping the ball well. And then I just saw this deflation in a few of the players when those tennis balls were on, and I'm thinking this isn't the right way to do this. Because that just destroyed for about 10, 15 minutes between the Boyle goal. It was a Boyle goal actually that woke them up. There was a 10, 15 minutes where just the air was out of them. And I just think that was the wrong way to go about it. There was nothing wrong outside the ground. I said this actually on Twitter. I just immediately felt the tennis ball thing was just a nonsense. Like,
I
that
do
to
see a
me
point, but
disrupted the flow of the game to me.
I think it was. I think the UB. Well, looking at it, I missed the first 10 minutes. I had issues in the subway, so I didn't even see the protest. I saw it at half time online. I think they're looking at it from a short term pain for long term gain point of view.
Yeah, they
Like
are.
if they think this protest could lose us this game, which would be bad because obviously get missing out on a trophy, missing out getting a Hampden, but it could lead to him getting this protest could lead to him getting the sack, and that will propel our season.
Okay.
Like I look at the Aberdeen game under Clement, no under Beale, you beat 3-1, and Rangers fans throughout that season looked at it as that game could have been the propel that won us the league. Obviously, we didn't win the league, but throughout that season, people and even though we get beat, that defeat was spun a positive into Clement, and then the League Cup win and the title charge and everything that happened that season. So I wonder if they're looking at it from that point of view of short term pain for long term gain.
If that's the case, so that's not a proper supporter. I want Rangers
Mm.
to win every game. I don't give a shit about who the manager is. I want
Yeah,
Rangers to win every game. And if you're
I agree with you.
like that to me is not the right way to do it. But again, I'm not getting on to them for the protest because I thought the protest outside was fine and fairly calm from what I've been told. It's more though that my big worry is that this team have clearly not got the capability of dealing with adversity, and that to me was putting them
No.
under adversity. So
Yeah.
that's
I
wrong.
agree with you. Like I like man, I want Russell Martin to win a league title with Rangers. Do I think it will happen? No. But I really want him to succeed. If
Uh-huh.
Russell Martin miraculously turns this around, I'll be more than happy. I'd rather be happy than right. I would be so happy if he proves me and every other Rangers fan wrong with that poster that was in the ground yesterday. I would happily see Russell Martin win the league, beat Celtic in the semi final, win the League Cup, and Everton rosy again. Do I
I
think it will
think
happen?
I
No.
think the
But
majority
I
though are
would,
in our boat with that, but I think the minority are what we saw yesterday, who
yeah.
don't want him to succeed and are happy for him to. I just don't think that's the right way to go about it. That being said, though, this is not me saying here, oh, we need to give him more time. Like I don't see it working, but I'm not of the opinion throw tennis balls on and hopefully they get beat. And then it results in them being sacked. That to me is just a ludicrous train of thought. If that's what they're doing,
I'll
like
say I don't know that's what they're doing. I'm just having a
I
guess.
can, yeah, that's
Like,
what
folk will listen
I
to
think.
this thing, he's talking bollocks, but that's fair enough. I probably am talking bollocks. I mainly do on this pod. But It's like I'm just going off what I think their thought process
Yeah.
is. We're interrupting the game.
Mhm. The big issue is here. Rangers need to build on this one. That's a big result because again, gets you into a semi final against Celtic, win that, you're overwhelming
Motherwell of St
favourites to
Mirren.
win a trophy. All right, which
Yeah,
I think if Martin's here and gets that, could set him on. But again, is he going to be here that long? I don't know. I hope he is, for the simple reason that I don't want to keep doing this sacking managers. I want, as you say, Russell Martin to. I'm just looking like before that game against Celtic, which we're hearing is the first in November. The first of November. Rangers have
is
got.
that Saturday?
I
It's
think
that
it's going to be the
weekend. I'm not.
Sunday.
It's not.
I think it's going
I
to be.
think it'll be the
I'd
Sunday.
imagine Rangers have got 8 games between now and then, and they are games that Rangers could win all 8 of those games. Now we've been down this road before. On this podcast, we've been down this road before saying wins these games, puts you in a good position. I don't look at those games thinking I can see Rangers dropping points. I don't because I don't think Genk are great. Sturm Graz I think is winnable, especially away from and then you go to Bran, who I think you could easily have 9 points in Europe. And I think he does need this league run. He does need to win those next 5 league games before that Celtic game. That's a confidence builder. But again, is Russell Martin going to win those 8 games? That is the question.
Yeah,
And I think if he doesn't win 8 of those games, he's probably out the door, or he should be out the door.
yeah. I I wouldn't be surprised, no matter what the results are, if he gets to Falkirk and then because he's getting a national break.
Yeah,
So I can see him keeping a job for the next 4 games.
even
Genk,
yeah.
Livy, Sturmgratz, Falkirk. And then you've got that 2 week spell between Falkirk and Dundee United to find a new manager. I couldn't tell you who that new manager is going to be. I think we could, like, that's probably a pod in itself.
We kind of did
But
it
who the
last
new,
week. Yeah, we kind of did it last week. But again, like what we're on after a win, and we're talking about who the new manager is going to be. Like it's one of those. It is one of those things. I can see where you're going from. What I will say is though that those 2 league games, Livingston and Falkirk away, he cannot drop points in those. Those are absolute must wins. I can deal with maybe
that high,
I
one
can
of those
deal with
2 games.
maybe I can deal with maybe 4 or even 2 points in Europe. Right, I can
Yeah,
if I see those 2 league wins.
we have to win a league game by the next
They'll be
international
yeah.
break
Need to win.
because
Need to
we
win
haven't won
both.
a league game yet.
Yeah, need to
And
win both.
we could be, I doubt it'll happen because Aberdeen don't know how to score a goal. But if Aberdeen beat Motherwell 4-0, we're last
Yeah,
before we play Levy.
yeah.
I don't think I am because Aberdeen are as bad as us. In fact, they're actually worse than us. So I don't see it happening. But there is a world where we're last when we play Levy.
We do have to talk about the Martin Boyle goal that was disallowed because it threw this massive concern. And I got a text from somebody in the ground literally 5 seconds after it. This place is toxic. That was after the ball was in the net. And it sounded like 34,000 people. I still don't think it was, but the problem with that for me, and I know the goal get disallowed, and I think it did click Rangers into gear a bit because we're like, all right, that's for warning, and it did
Yeah.
get a wee bit of a response. The problem with that though is that it was such a simple goal, and I've said all week to people, I says if Rangers give Martin Boyle space, he will exploit it, and it happened. If I knew
Mm,
that, we're not professional football coaches. We give our
far
view.
from it.
Russell Martin knows more about football than us. If we can see it,
Yeah.
he should see it. And
Yeah.
I thought Cornelius brought a good bit of balance to the back line.
I liked
I
him.
thought it
Looked
helped.
really good.
He's not the quickest already. I can see that. I think there's a
Yeah.
glaring worry of pace for me. Could Butland
Yep.
come off his line? Possibly. However, if there's a pacey forward and you're playing that higher line, you are going to lose goals. That was a warning sign because of the handball, and it was accidental, right? He knew, I think he knew as soon as it happened. It was a
Yeah.
bad one, but Just because Rangers kept a clean sheet doesn't mean those warning signs aren't there.
No, you saw it. It was just before that, or just after it. He went round the keeper and put it over the bar.
I think it was just after that, yeah.
Just after it, aye.
It's
So that's another
a
time he
header
get
as
in
well.
behind us.
There was a header
Yeah,
as well
that
where
was
he's just
just
got
at 1
yards
nil.
of space, aye.
That was at 1 nil, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was going to national bottom corner when I saw him when the header, but yeah, there is concerns. I mean, we don't have fast centre halves.
No.
Suter's never the quickest. Cornelius off one game doesn't look the quickest. Jigger's not the quickest. So I think so. That is a glaring obvious. That is a glaring error. Is is pace in the middle of the back line. And when you're playing this system, that's one thing you need more than anything. Is quick centre halves. Like, and it's just I don't see what was the scouting plan when it came to centre halves. If you're looking at this system, what's the one thing you think you need if there's space behind is quick centre halves? So Jagger is no quick, and
Mm-hmm.
Cornelius does not the quickest. So I don't see why we didn't scout for faster centre halves because that is something that we massively need. Don't know how quick the boy Mendy was. Who apparently was
Yeah.
everything was sorted. Then there was an issue. Some say it was a medical. Some say it was Betty's change. Don't know what happened with that one. So maybe he was a fast centre half we looked at, but there should be more than one option when it comes to that
I mean, that is Magoma.
attribute.
Magoma looks pretty pacey, but again, like he can't cover. He's
No,
looked pretty tidy actually. I've actually been quite
I
impressed with
quite liked him.
him.
He
Yeah, I
has to be
think.
because he's the only left back we employ.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't
But
employ. We don't even employ him.
we mentioned obviously the player who got the first goal, and it was probably the big headline coming into the game was Nico Raskin being back in the squad. It had to be him that scored the first goal, didn't it?
I was
Like
stunned he started. I did not.
I wasn't.
I did not expect him to start.
Nah, I thought he would start. I
I would
thought
have started him, but I didn't expect Martin to start him. Is the better way I'd put it.
that's a tough one, right? Because we don't know what's happened, and we've speculated it. A lot of other podcasts have speculated about it as well. What I will say is though, Nico Raskin is almost immediately you could see in 5 minutes brings something that the other midfielders don't have, which is an energy on the ball, and he's
Yep.
able to win back the ball, drive forward. I thought there was a couple of occasions where he was just able to go that kind of 15 yards with the ball that Diamande and Barron can't do or won't
No,
do. Even Rothwell, I think, maybe can when he's fit. I think I wouldn't be surprised maybe long term if Raskin and Rothwell was a two is maybe the plan. And I don't think it'd be a bad thing. It's
no,
just though
no. I think
who the
though. I think Diamande is the replaceable one.
mhm.
Whether that is
Especially
Rothwell,
domestically.
whether that is Rothwell, or I'd hopefully see Lyle Cameron when
Yeah,
he's back. I don't know what the script with him is.
I think that's an injury.
No, they haven't said anything.
Mm. I've
Like
noticed
Martin's not
that
said
though.
anything
I've
that's
noticed
pressers
that though
about
in
it.
pressers that there's not really much about like injuries. Obviously, I think because the medical department must be a bit better because there's not. Although there's still
Like
wee niggles getting
we've
picked
not had
up.
any update on Dujon Sterling.
I actually heard an update in Jude Sterling. I think he's back in light training, is what I was told.
There was someone on Instagram. He was on the grass, and that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well that was a couple of weeks ago. I'd heard that, but yeah, I mean, like if he's maybe your left back kind of cover, I get again. I still want a better left back to come in January, but
Yeah,
it's just again though we're asking. He is obviously he is too good a player to be sitting at home,
yeah.
and
He's comfortably our best player.
that
I
yeah,
don't even think that's much of an argument. He's the best player we employ.
and he's just able to carry the ball. And again, like that's been one of my big worries in midfield over the early few weeks. And I don't think Raskin started the season. I don't think in the early games before this all kicked off he was playing great. But I put that down to is that I don't necessarily think he was suited to where he was playing. But you
No,
saw
I
yesterday sitting
think I
back
said
a
that on
bit.
here and to you privately. The whole setup of the midfield with him and Rothwell was just baffling to me. And
Yeah,
there was a clip going about someone on open goal who used to play with Rothwell, and they said the same thing. And then Rothwell liked the Instagram post. Have you seen this?
I did see it. Yeah,
So Rothwell obviously knew he was played, he wasn't being used correctly. If he's sitting liking post talking about it.
There is a potential though that that's an accident because I've liked Instagram posts that, so we don't know, but again, you can
You read between the
speculate.
lines.
Yeah, you can read. But I do think Rothwell's got a part to play. Hopefully, his injury's not too bad because I do think, and I said this to you, I was at the Panathinaikos game, and I did say to you, I said he does look what Rangers have been missing. But again, just I think his fitness. I think his fitness is the big was the big issue. I think maybe this injury is a good thing because it's maybe given him that few
Even
weeks
that
to
10 minute
recover.
spell he came on against
No,
Hearts, he looked good. He was doing what we were just talking about with Raskin. He was picking the ball up. He was there was a wee mazy run he went and he took a shot. I think keeper saved it.
yeah.
But that showed me there's something there with Joe Roth. I don't think he's completely hopeless. I think there's been a lack of fitness, and I think the lack of fitness is the entire team. So I'm like, well, I think I've said this before, but we don't look fit at all. Yes, they was slightly different, but overall, I think Joe Rothwell's getting slagged off online because of his sort of fitness and his shape. But I think you could say that about a good few of the team. And when it's a full team issue that's not fit, that's the coaching stuff.
Raskin was important, obviously, for the first goal, and then I think that second goal was massive. It was good for Miovski as well. Nice wee bit of finishing just to get there at the right time. I thought the entire first half, like Rangers were creating stuff, but it was like there was no Miovski was feeding off scraps. And then there's a nice wee bit of a play between Raskin. Moore does his bit for the goal. Miovski gets in there, makes it 2-0. And getting in 2-0 at half time, I think just made the difference and just put
Yeah.
the game to bed. I just didn't see Hibs coming back for that.
No, but there was always a worry if they get one, their
Yeah,
arses will go.
yeah. I didn't.
Because I
I
think
yeah.
I think the stadium would get nervous. The players would get nervous. If Hibs scored, then I'd have been very concerned. But yeah, sort of touch on what you said there. I think we got from back to front very well, but when we got to front, we didn't really look like we knew what we were doing.
Aye, yeah. I think that kind of like brings to a kind of bigger concern though is that I think there's gonna be a lot of times this season in these kind of games where you're needing a goal, it's get the ball to Gasama.
Yeah, and that to me is another massive issue with the coaching stuff.
Yeah.
If you're attack all four of the attackers that played yesterday were his signs. Moore, Asgard, Gisama, Miovski, Ant-Man, Sherman, he came on. That was
I do think they're all good players. I do think they all
they're all
will
obviously
contribute.
talented players,
Yeah.
but all got to the penalty box, and when they got there, I was like, "What am I meant to do with this ball here?" There was hardly any movement. No one making off the ball runs. There was no link in the play apart from the goal, and that to me is a manager issue. There's no patterns when we get in and around and that's what you need when you're playing against deep blocks like Hibs did
And
yesterday,
that was the
like
first time I
Dundee
can say
did.
this season there was a low block that Rangers had
Yeah,
to break down because
like
Hibs were
Hibs
playing
did.
even at 2-0, which I don't get as a manager why you would do that. Hibs were playing a
No.
really low block, which I just don't get
And
why
when
they
you're
do that.
playing against that low block, you need patterns of play that are coached Monday to Friday
Yeah.
to break it down. But they're not doing it. Like the back three was Grant Hanley, Rocky Bashiri, and Abita. I think Bashiri's pretty good. We've seen Hanley for Scotland. Jeez, he's not been good for 6 years. Last time he was good was we playing with Russell Martin and Abita, he's all right, but that's able to be gotten at. But we kind of just played into their hands by just passing around in front of them. And the two goals we got were a header for a corner for the smallest guy in the park. And okay, it was a good run by Moore, but again, his shot deflected to
Yeah.
Miovski.
It was a bit of luck,
So
yeah.
that is a bit of luck. So there's no real pattern to get into that area,
Hmm.
and that is another issue that I put down to the manager.
I text my dad at half time to say Rangers, if Martin wants to really make an impression here and shut a few folk up, it's go out and score more goals. And I just felt second half like Gassama had the chance that hit the bar, and there was a wee chance in the end
Schmidt,
for Chermiti, who we'll get into because I did like a wee bit what I seen from him, but I just never felt that Rangers could have probably and should have scored more goals. I just never felt that they were.
No, well, they had the offside goal, which was about a good yard or two
Aye, that
offside.
was, I wouldn't be counting that
And
because
they
he
had the
was
Ant
nine
Man
yards
one way
offside.
Ant Man took it around about three
He looked
by
pretty good when he
again.
came on. Actually, I liked the wee bit he had, and he was unlucky with that.
So yeah, but again, that's not chance creation.
Hmm.
That's him doing something on his own, which again is an issue that I put down to the man. I'm going to keep blaming the manager, and folk can get bored because I'm getting repetitive. But it is a massive, glaring issue when you're not creating a lot of chances
Hmm.
with the amount of money we've spent in the front line, with the amount of talent we've got there. That's an issue.
I wanted to bring up subs quite quickly because we mentioned, I think we spoke a wee bit last week about Mikey Moore, and I do think he was certainly a lot better yesterday than he was last Saturday. I thought last Saturday he just gave the ball away constantly. I thought he was much more tidier on yesterday. However, I still think him and Curtis are very similar. Where
Yeah,
I don't mind them starting occasionally when Rangers are on a good run. Like for example, like if you get to maybe that got on that good run and you go to like away to Dundee in the 9th of November and then you're at home to Livingston, you can start them in games like that. It's just right now, I think you need your best players playing every game because every game at the moment's a must win. Not saying those games aren't later on, but I think if you're in a better run of form, you can maybe rotate a bit, as we saw with Celtic today, for example. They bring in Yang, scores a goal. They're able to do that because they're winning games.
yeah.
I just don't get this not playing Ant Man. Now,
No,
that's
do you know
not
what,
me
Mike?
saying Ant Man's had a brilliant start. I think he's one really good performance. But I think you've got to go with your best players at the moment and keep a solid structure until you're at the point where we're doing really well. We can rotate a couple of positions. I think you need a settled side and go with it. I just don't think Moore's ready to be that starter at the moment. Not
No,
saying he won't
that's
be
what
down the line. I just think you've got to go with Ant Man and Gassama and Asgard and Miovski and build that. And you
Mikey
see the
Moore
patterns might
is.
come.
Yeah, Mikey Moore's playing like an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
That's exactly what he is.
yeah.
Folk who thought, oh, we've signed this star boy who's going to win the Ballon d'Or in a few years. He should be the best player in the league. It's like he's 18. Like what? You folk thought I think when he started the season badly, and he had his issue with his age and his permit and all that kind of stuff. Folk look right when Moore's into the team, bit of creativity, boys might be a talent, boys could be flying. I sat and watched. I was like, the boy's 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think is going to happen? He's not gonna be 18-year-old Lionel Messi. There's a reason there's a reason Spurs sent him out on loan. He's not playing for Spurs first team right now. So he needed minutes to become a first team player, and that's exactly why we're there to give him them.
And he will
But
get it. He
for
will
me,
get it.
yeah,
Even if he's not starting games, he'll get minutes. It's not like he's, I'm
no.
saying, completely bottom
Well, there's
out the
enough games
side.
to go about. There's enough games to go
Exactly.
about to get minutes,
Exactly.
and he's. I don't think he's a winger. I don't think he's quick enough to be a winger.
I thought that. I thought that as well. But I'm more
I
like
think he'd be much better as a sort of if we go back to the 4-3-3, which I don't think we should. Then he'd be better as one of the eights, a sort of a free. You know the way Moyes is using Grealish at the moment,
yeah.
as sort of just get the ball within this part of the park and do what you want with it.
Hmm.
I think that would be a good way to use Moore, but he's not. He's not a right winger. If he's going to play a wing, if he's going to play any wing, play him on the left. But Gassama's been better on the left than him, so I think.
Gassama needs to
Yeah, I
play on
don't
the
think.
left. Gassama's
Yeah,
the man
aye,
on
but
like
yeah, but
on that
my
side.
point is I don't know where Moore's best position is.
Aye.
Is it a left eight? Is it a left wing? Is it as a number 10? I'm not really sure what he's trying to do with Moore. 'Cause it looks like he's trying to shove it, he's just trying to force him into the team. I don't know if Spurs have been in the phone and said he needs to play X amount of games, which I don't like if that's the fact.
We don't know
If
that.
that
There's a
is the
possibility of that,
case,
but I don't. I'm
no.
not
Because it's
sure.
just a bit random that he wasn't playing, then he starts him in Old Firm. And he
I mean,
started him in the
he's
last
played
two
through the
games.
he's played through the middle at youth level. He's played up when he was playing like he was in under 18s Premier League. I'm just looking just now. He's played a lot like as a false nine, as an attacking midfielder. He's even played an occasion kind of sitting mid, not sitting midfielder, but as like centre mid.
Yeah.
there's a possibility. Again, he might be that kind of versatile winger. I just think at the moment, and I'm not like people know I liked Ant Man last season when he was in Holland and was really happy at the signing. I just feel you have to go with your best players and build a structure in there, especially your front four. Because I think for many years, possibly since Gerrard, Rangers have not got enough goals from those areas.
No.
Right? There's been players that have done it, like Tillman, Seamer, Cherney. We've mentioned there's not been a flat three or four in that position who will score you those goals. And I think at the moment, when you're under that pressure and not winning games, you need that balanced and consistent. And I think Ant Man's a better option than Moore at the moment. I'm not saying with 25 minutes to go, if you're maybe needing something, throw on Moore because he's got energy and do you know what I mean? He's very good technically and get pace to burn. I just think at the moment, you might disagree and people might disagree, but if I'm watching another team like Celtic, I mean, I'm using Celtic as another example. I'll know in a few weeks what their best front four is
Yeah.
when they're fully fit. At the moment, Rangers, I kind of know what it is already, but he's not playing it, and I feel you need to do that when you're needing wins and needing a run. I just think it's a big thing that needs he
Yeah.
just needs to address.
I, I'm a bit. I don't know. I'm a bit. I don't want to say concerned. I don't know if concerned the right word. But I'm looking right now at Miofsky and Shamiti, and I'm sitting thinking, when should Mitty going to become our first choice centre forward? Because we can't spend £8 million on a and keep him on the bench for much longer.
I thought it was okay. You can tell he's very rusty. You can tell he's not played a lot
He
of
looked
football.
fast. He looked faster than
It
I thought he
does.
was.
It does look quick. Do you know who he's very similar to? Like, just in terms, I know we spoke about when we did our EPL show last week. He reminds me a bit of Altamada, just not in terms of his ability, but just
Yeah,
you can tell he's a technically good footballer who's quite tall.
yeah, but still, he has to score that chance
Oh,
now.
he needs to score goals, and again, like whether that's the thought of, oh, he's not scored in these leagues like Portugal and England, but he'll score goals in Scotland where how many times have we seen that with players where
Yeah,
that's the thought and it
doesn't
doesn't
even really
work?
happen.
But as you say, I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe plays on Thursday, maybe starts on Thursday.
Yeah, but I kind of want to see Miofsky because he scored and sort of keep that momentum going.
Yeah, but I think Miovski's your Sunday striker at the moment. Like
Yeah, I'm still.
it's,
It's
but
a,
again,
it's
I'm
when you
contradicting
sign two
myself.
centre
Are you
forwards.
ready? Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to make those switches? Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, Miovski would play on Thursday, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if I see Shinmati's playing as well.
Yeah, but I still, it's a, it's really confusing. I don't confusing not the right word. It's when you spend £12 million on two centre forwards who both want to be first choice and are both good enough to be first choice, and your system revolves around playing one. And I'm not for a second saying we should play two strikers, because no team in world football plays two strikers. But to me, if you play two strikers, one of them could get injured, and that leaves you with Danilo as your other
Yeah.
choice. So for me, I'd stick with the one up top,
I wanted to touch on
but
quickly.
it's just what one that is.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on. I thought Asgard was good. I do think
I
already I'm
like
beginning to
Asgard.
see what he's doing. I would like him to get forward a bit more. I don't know if it's just what he's been told to do at the moment, as you maybe need to drop a bit deeper and create stuff. But already I'm like, you're the ball carrier in that position, and you've got that kind of physicality that hasn't been there for a while. He'll score goals.
Yeah, he's a lot taller than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I know. I thought that as well.
Like he looks like he can put himself about a bit. Like a lot of our signings were fairly tall. I think
Hmm.
obviously Lyle Cameron, but he wasn't a hingy signing. Martin signing. Max Aarons, obviously he's tiny, but he's not really worked out. Goma's fairly tall. Gassama's tall to an extent.
Hmm.
Even Moore, I think Moore's he's
Moore is quite.
slim, but he's like
Yeah.
tall.
Hmm.
But he's not like built. He's very slim and he's a bit nimble. But Yeah, I really like Asgard. I think there's a day. I think Asgard and Raskin are two stick-on midfielders for me, and it's just who that other one is. Whether it is Moore, you drop him a bit deeper, like Cameron when he's fit, Rothwell, or even Diamandi. I think Diamandi's maybe fourth choice out of the ones I listed for me.
Okay. I think, well, like Europe and Celtic games, Diamandi's a stick on for me. I think in
Yeah,
those
because he
games you
always
can
seems to
put,
perform. He
yeah.
always seems to perform in those games because he knows he can get scouted in those games.
But overall, like, I had a conversation with somebody on Monday, and this is when I first saw the Loch Lomond photo, and I was like, if they lose on Saturday, this is going to be the nonsense. Like, do you remember a few
Yeah,
years ago? I can't remember what team it was, but they ended up going to like Alton Towers for a team bonding, and I think they lost the following weekend. I can't remember. It was an English team, but it's like that'll be. I mean, what I did say as well to people was, I'm all for a team bonding session, especially if things in the dressing room aren't great. But can you know, like rent out a theme park or a swimming bath or something like? I've been to Loch Lomond a couple of times. It's one of the most public places in the world.
yeah.
Like
Don't know why
it's
I decided to go
wide
there.
open. But again, it's like it's not a stroke of genius because it's 1-1 and we need to not get ahead of ourselves. But there was a bit more cohesion. So there's clearly method to the madness to a degree. It's just though, like I would want 9 or 10 wins in a row before I say, oh, the Loch Lomond thing was the genius. But I can
Yeah,
sort of see that's the kind of way modern football is, isn't it? It's like Joe Wallace taking his teams to the sand dunes. It's not. Do you know what I mean? That was
but
kind of
that was different because
aye.
that was pre-season. I was running during the pre-seasons getting
That was
fit.
to aye, that was to get fit. This is more, I think, the Ivan Golach thing. If you want to know who that
Yeah,
is, Google 1994 Dundee United team where he would take them and like walks to the park and things like that. It's this kind of
like
modern football
Liam
thing.
Kelly and the presser seemed to love it. Liam
Aye.
Kelly and the presser seemed to really enjoy it. But he's not going to sit in the presser say no. I thought it was pish.
I thought
Is
that
he?
was
He's
bizarre
going
as
to
well.
say
Why is he doing the presser if he's not playing? Like things like
I don't.
that.
To be fair, I don't know if it's the same for like pressers during the week. But all I know is that a post-match presser, Rangers Football Club has zero say on what player does a presser. After a game, you were in the media room. I done a handful of media games for my college, and you're in the media room, and the press officer will come in and ask you what player do you want, and the journalists decide what player they want to speak to. So when I see Rangers fans slagging off, why is Tavernill doing an interview? Why he's sending out Butland? And it's because that's who the journalists want to speak to. So it's that is. I don't know if it's the same for the. I don't know if the journalists pick the presser during the week. I
I've
don't
no
think
idea.
so. But all I know is that post match it is the journalists that pick the players. And also, just one more touch on this Loch Lomond thing. Russell Martin did something that really, really annoyed me. It was like, oh, if we were winning, folk wouldn't complain about it. So yeah, that's the point. Folk are complaining because you're doing it when you should be working on why we're so bad and
Yeah.
haven't won a league game. We're 11th in nearly October. So when he's sitting there looking all smug in his presser, going, "Oh, if we were winning, folk wouldn't mind about it." It's like that's the point, Russell.
I was going to touch on this just before we move into Genk and wrap up. It was very, I'm not going to say arrogant, but it was very confident in
Smug.
his post, yeah, to a degree, and with his post match press, and he was taught about how we look coach today. I don't necessarily think the people saying they didn't look coach were saying that was. I think they were saying what we were saying, that this team just that just doesn't look to be the patterns of play. I think Martin is somebody who has taken that to heart
Well,
because
yeah.
if you're saying that team's not coached, you're questioning his entire mindset in football. So I think he was waiting
I think
on
he
that.
has. I think he's literally said he's taken it to heart.
Yeah. And I can see that to a degree. My issue with it is, though, it's one game. There was something there. We spoke about, I think the squad, will it take a better manager? I think probably. I think the squad's there to
There's
really do
definitely a lot of
something.
talent.
Aye.
There's a
It's
lot of
just,
talent.
although we should take the positives for that's right because it's the first time since the start of August taking away that international break that I haven't wanted I've wanted to come on. I've looked forward to coming on a Rangers pod because they've
Yeah,
been pretty good to watch. That being said, it's still it's a it's a building block. It's either a building block towards a more prosperous run, which he needs to go on. He needs to win. I would say he needs to win all those games leading into Celtic, and then that's a serious,
yes.
serious step of Rangers are going into a
Turning
Celtic
a
game
corner.
full of confidence. I mean, potentially 9 points in Europe. Certainly not 11th. I don't think people saying about Rangers being 11th, they won't. You know as well as I do, they'll be 11th for like a week, and then like, do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not going to be
We've
out.
got
This will probably get clipped if I'm wrong, but Rangers aren't going to be 11th for very long. Not
I'm
saying they're
looking
going to
at
be second in a couple of weeks, but they're not going to be in 11th for ages.
I'm looking at the league run of these games. Livy and Falkirk both away. Dundee United and Kelly both at home. And then Hibs away. And then the Celtic game.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Saturday or Sunday, my guess is the Sunday.
I will be the Sunday. Will definitely be the Sunday.
I'm looking at that and thinking Hibs will be hard because it's
It's
away
got
on a
it's
Wednesday
got to
night
be
at Easter
15
Road.
points, mate. It's got to be.
It has to be, but well, it's easier said than done. Definitely easier said than done. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's a fairly favourable run. But again, we said that at the start of the
we
season.
said that about the start, yeah,
We drew with Dundee,
and Drew was
drew with
Celtic.
St Mirren, drew with Celtic. I think it'd be by Hearts.
Yeah,
So
so we've
it's
been
easy.
down.
On paper, it's a favourable run, but we haven't made any game look favourable. Even
No,
yesterday didn't look favourable. I think everyone you spoke to thought Hibs were winning it yesterday, including me,
I did
and
think.
maybe including you.
I did think. I did think Rangers would. Matt was just blind optimism, but I did think Rangers would get something because I just didn't see it.
I was speaking to a Hibs fan in the pub yesterday before the game. We were in Spoons in town, and speaking to a Hibs fan, he said Hibs fans weren't as confident as you'd think they would have been. A lot of them had the mindset of Rangers have to click at some point,
And I
and
still
to
think
me
Martin's
that's
in that boat, by the way. I still think that's Martin's train of thought is this will click at some point. When it does click, who's going to stop us? That being said, though, we haven't seen the evidence that that is consistently what's going to happen. There's
no,
pulls in a wee bit yesterday. I would say yesterday was probably the best performance since Pools, and I don't think anybody can disagree with that. But that's because
no,
all the other performances between then have been pretty diabolical.
horrific.
There is a good opportunity on Thursday. Rangers
Yes,
do host Genk, who, as of recording, are 14th in the Belgian league. They lost at home to USG on today, so they are another team not coming in very good league form. These are the sort of games that I don't doubt Rangers in. Even last season when things are going pretty badly, because Rangers always seem to just show up in Europe. But it is, I can see Rangers winning this comfortably, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Rangers lose it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just that silly.
that's it. That's every game.
Aye, like
I'm looking at it now. Their best player is out of a back injury, which is always a good start. These things always seem to happen to us. I don't know why. Every single big European game we play, someone's out injured for the other team. Like we played Dortmund, Haaland was out for both games, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to say I'm a Genk expert, far from it. But I know they haven't won. They haven't won in three. They didn't win their first three league games. They're conceding a lot. They haven't kept a clean sheet all season.
mm-hmm.
Back their first clean sheet win Thursday probably. So I'm not really sure how to think because I just go into these games as sort of blind optimism because I don't know much about the other team and just think we're going to win it. Like we played last season, played like Malmo and thought we were going to win. Was it Maribor? Who did we score? Barama scored the first 5 minutes and McCausland scored. Was that Malmo?
Malmo.
Yeah, I went going to that game just thinking we're going to win because I didn't know much about Malmo. And I'm sort of like that with this game as well. And it's a Thursday night. The crowd will be interesting. That's one thing.
I think it will be a pretty good crowd.
Because Europa League packages have gone in general sale. I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, I know. But that's just the kind of mood music at the moment. That's just. I'm not surprised at that, but I do think it will. I do think you will see a better crowd. I'm overall very confident though. Whether that's just blind optimism, I'm not saying, oh, because we beat Hibs, I'm confident Rangers are going to win the next three
The
Europa League
league.
games. I just think, I
I've got a
just
fiver
feel,
on us to win the treble,
I
so
just feel a bit better. Like
yeah.
last week, I was like, he needs to go and he needs to go now. I'm not saying like I'm completely turned. I'm just saying like, just let's just hope that this turns around a bit.
Yeah.
Can it get any worse?
Hopes the word.
Aye, like if we're on here next week and Rangers have beat Genk and beat Livingston, that's maybe when I'll go right. Okay, there's maybe something in it, but I just want to see that. Is that a blind optimism? Is that am I just kicking the can down the road as you say? I don't know. I'm not like saying all you people are wrong for protesting. What I'm saying is though is I don't want to be in this boat sacking managers every season because I'm just fed up with it. I'm fed up having to like do it. And
I think there's a topic of conversation around that and the sort of sacking culture. To me, it's not a sacking culture. To me, it's a hiring bad managers culture.
could be that, yeah.
Because if you look at the main consensus around at least two of the last four managers was they shouldn't have got the job. Russell Martin and Michael Beale should never have got the job
Yeah.
before they got sacked. They shouldn't have got the job in the first place. With Clement, I think a lot of folk were sort of up in the air. I think it was definitely him and Muscat. I think I was more in the Muscat boat than I was the Clement boat. But it wasn't we must appoint Muscat, we cannot appoint Clement type thing. With Gio, I think the consensus was fairly positive when I
I would
appointed
say
Gio.
Gio and Clement. It was very. I was in the very strong camp of these two are strong European managers who should be able to do something with us,
Yeah.
and they did and
And
they
I think
didn't.
I think they brought too much of the European culture.
I think it was probably that, yeah. But onwards and upwards, eh? That's as we say. Let's. If they go to Loch Lomond tomorrow, I'm all for it. If it works,
No, they're
so
up
be
Ben
it.
Nevis tomorrow, apart. They're
Yeah,
up Ben Nevis
all
tomorrow.
for it. I would say a wee day out to M&D's maybe next would be good. But yeah, on that note, we'll wrap up. Enjoy Thursday. Hopefully a good result, and we'll be back next week. But hopefully we can talk about a first league win.
Hopefully. If it's no, Jesus.
Thank you very much as always, folks. For more Rangers content, follow us on social media. We'll see you all soon.